All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look at some applications, and we're going to refer back to the last assignment that you had on Education Perfect where you were translating, because doing the applications involves the same skills, translating these. Okay? So let's talk first about some key words. Anytime you're translating from English to math, you need to have a few key words to be able to know what operation you're talking about, right? So let's go through some of those key words. And let's start with addition. If you're going to add, there are a few key words, right? First of all, who remembers what the answer is called when you add? Okay, a sum. There you go. So you might see the sum of two numbers. That means you need to add them together. Right? Okay. You might also see increase. If you increase, that means you're adding to what you already had. Make sense? Okay. And of course, you can still see add. Now there are more words. Another really big one that you'll see a lot is the phrase more than. If I have more, then that means I'm adding to what I already have, right? Okay. Now, can you have more if you didn't start with anything? No, then you just have whatever, right? So think about the words. You know what these words mean. You can't have more of something you didn't have in the first place. You just have new stuff. So more than always means you started with something. Okay? Right? There are more keywords that you'll see, but you get the general idea. Okay? So anytime you see those words, you know you're adding things together. Let's talk about subtract. What's the answer called when you subtract? Difference. There you go. Good. Okay? And so think about words that may mean that. If it's increases, add, what do you think subtract? Decrease. Exactly. Okay? And of course, subtract. And if you have more than when you add, what would you have when you subtract? Less than. Okay? So if I say 3 less than 5, you take the 5 and you subtract 3 from it. So be careful about the order. That makes a big difference. Okay? Does the order matter when you add? No. But when you subtract, does it matter? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so be careful. We're going to look at some examples. All right, so those are add, subtract. Let's talk about multiply and divide. When you multiply, who can tell me what the answer is? Just sing it out, guys. Product. There you go. The answer is called a product. So the product of two numbers means you're going to multiply them. Okay? Another huge word or tiny little word actually, that means multiplication, and everybody wants to make it division, is of. Yes, of. If you see the word of, that means to multiply. 3/4 of the cars in the parking lot are red. That means take 3/4 times the number of cars in the parking lot. All right? Very weird word to mean multiply, but it does. Okay? Everybody wants to divide, but no. And usually when you're doing it though, you're talking about a fractional amount. And if you take a fractional amount of it, that is in effect you're dividing, right? But it means to multiply by that fractional amount. Okay? Right? And of course, times, you'll still see that. Okay? Or multiply. Okay? When you divide, you bet. What's the answer called when you divide? A quotient. Exactly. Now remember, division is the weird one, and the weird word goes with division. Quotient. Okay? So the quotient of two numbers means you're going to be dividing them.
Oh, I just have a question.
Okay? Yes?
For the teaspoon,
If it's about this, I'll let you Okay. Let's go. Pardon? I will now. All right, divide, quotient. Another word that means divide, per. Like kilometers per hour, right? Kilometers per gallon means to divide. Probably won't see that in our context right now, but it doesn't hurt you to remember that. Okay? So, add and subtract have a lot of words. Multiply and divide, not so many.
Oh, that's it?
Okay?
How does multiply? Because if you're 3/4 is a car part.
3/4 of the cars, right? So 3/4 of the cars
Don't they say divided by?
means 3/4 times the number of cars.
Yes. Isn't over one?
Nope.
Isn't over one? It's like 1/4.
But remember, when you're multiplying with fractions, what you do is you take the whole number divided by the bottom and then multiplied times the top. But the only way you can do that is if this is multiply. If it was divide, then you would end up with 3/4 divided by the number of cars, and you would get a tiny little decimal that would not be worked. Okay? Okay, so it has to be multiply. So anytime you see of, and everybody wants to put divide, but don't. Okay? All right. So what I want to do then is go to that Education Perfect lesson that I set for you and look at a few of those just to translate straight into an expression. But before we do that, I want to talk about expression. We have two types of algebraic sentences. We have an expression and we have an equation. Now, we mentioned these before at the beginning with this lesson when we talk about algebra. How do I know that something is an equation? Yep. Yes, you bet. It has an equal symbol. And an expression has no equal symbol. So I'm going to write down a couple of things, and I want you to tell me, is it an equation or is it an expression? So what if I have 2x squared plus 3y minus 5? Equation or expression? Expression. What if I have 2x squared plus 3y minus 5 equals 10? How easy is it to tell the difference, right? So if it says make an expression, then you do this. No equal symbol. Right? But if it says write an equation, you must have an equal symbol. Okay? Now, this equal symbol also has a keyword. Anytime, if you want to write the equal symbol, it could say equal still. But the most commonly used keyword for the equal symbol is the word is. So if you see the word is, that means the equal symbol, right? So this is read as 2x squared plus 3y minus 5 is 10 or equals 10. They mean the same thing. So if you see the word is, then you know you're dealing with an expression? No, an equation. Okay? All right, so you see the difference. Now, most of the problems that we're going to deal with, you're going to see, are pretty much the same.
Like this, find out what variables their value is.
Well, and for an expression, you can't solve an expression. So this one. I can't solve this. All I could do is collect the like terms if there were any, but there aren't any. In other words, this I can simplify, and that's it. But this one, I can solve. And that's the difference between the two. An equation, an expression can only be simplified, but an equation can be solved. Right? Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at some. Go back to these and go through some examples. So we're going to look at some examples. So try to hold your questions unless it's about this specific example we're working with. Okay. Yes, you can. But you usually don't have to. You usually just solve it. Okay? So, give me just a second. Algebra. Solving equations. Level 4, sorry. Okay. Okay. So we're going to look at turning these equations into, turning sentences, English sentences into an equation. All right? Okay? So we're going to turn these stories into equations. So look at this sentence. Look at this one. It says, let's say some friends want to buy tickets to a rock concert. Each ticket is $50. So is there any unknown there? Nope. So my advice to you would be to make a list of the things that you have. So we know that each ticket costs what? $50. Okay? Plus a one-off credit card payment fee of $10. Okay? So, one-off means that it's not $10 per ticket, it's just one charge of $10, right? Okay? But each ticket costs how much? $50. Okay? The friends spend a total of $210. So they have a total spent of $210. Okay? Now, making a list of the items that you have makes you focus on them. Okay, hold on a minute. Don't worry about what the problem is. Just focus on making the list. That's all I'm asking you to do right now. So, making a list of the items you have focuses what pieces you know and what you don't know. Okay? So, how many friends went to the concert? In other words, if it's how many friends, that means the same thing as saying how many what?
People. 2 tickets.
There you go. Right? Because each person that goes to the concert has to have a what? Ticket. Because does it say people anywhere in my list? No. Instead, I know it in tickets. But I know that each person has to have a ticket, right? So the number of tickets is my unknown. Now, I generally call it X, but more you could probably call it what? T. I'll be careful. You could use question mark if you wanted to, but it looks funny. So use a letter. But T, X, Y, whatever your favorite letter is. I don't know. What's your favorite letter?
G.
There you go. There you go. Don't get pretty carried away. Okay? So it doesn't really matter. T is very explanatory, right? Okay? All right. So let's see if we can write an English sentence. All right? An English sentence that describes this situation. Okay? How much does a ticket cost?
$50.
Okay. All right. So what we need is the number of tickets, and each ticket costs $50. So times $50 plus the fee equals how much total? $210. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The number of tickets times 50, because each ticket costs $50. Okay? Yes?
If you can kind of like work out the answer.
Nope. You have to show me the equation or it's wrong.
So you want us to write it.
Now, you don't have to show this piece of it. I'm just trying to get you to see what's happening here. But if you don't write an equation, then yes, your answer is wrong. So this next part that I write down, if I don't see it, it's wrong. I don't care if you get the right answer or not. All right? Not even going to give you one bit of credit without seeing the equation. Okay, these better be incredibly relevant to this question or else I don't want to hear it yet. Okay? We're working on this problem. Yes, you had your hand up first.
Well, if it is how many frames makes the concept, but that means, oh my gosh, it is against frames.
So, okay? Yes, you had your hand up.
Oh yes. You wrote tickets and fees. Can you write letters and stuff?
Oh, that's where we're getting. Right now I'm just writing an English question. Yeah.
If we did this problem, and we got it wrong, but we wrote out the equation.
Then you'll get some credit for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can still get points. So if I see the equation, but you make a simple math error, if it's small enough, I can ignore it. Right? But if you miss the equation, I can't ignore that. Good question. All right, so here we go. Let's write our equation. So it's $50 times the number of tickets. What are we calling the tickets? T. So 50T. Why did I put the number in front of the letter?
Because it always has to be.
Yeah, we always, anytime we're multiplying a number times a letter, we always put the number first. So 50t plus, how much is the fee? $10 is equals, how much money did they spend total? $210. If I don't see this, now, it could say 10 plus 50t or 50x. You could use different letters. But if I don't see this equation or some form of it, then your answer is wrong. Okay? So you must translate it. Yes?
Is that okay if it's more like bigger, like you write it out the long way?
No, you can write it out the long way, but then you need to turn it into a mathematical equation. And a mathematical equation doesn't have words in it.
So then wouldn't it be like 4 tickets?
Well, hold on a minute. Now, it's asking how many friends, so I have an equation. Now what do I need to do with it? Solve it. Yes?
On the test, when we did, it says like a problem like this. If we write that equation and then how we work out this.
Right. Yes, I'm telling you. Yes, you have to have this written. This stuff is optional. It's just organization. But this is not optional. Okay? So we have our equation. Now let's talk about how to solve it. Okay?
If every person to go has to spend basically just $60.
No, that's not the way it works. Solve the equation. So let's solve it. So we have 50t. I want the exact value of number of friends. Right? So, when solving an equation, what's the first thing I look for? For brackets. Do I have any? No. What do I look for next? Fractions. There you go. Excellent. Perfect. Do I have any? No. Third step. Variable terms on one side. So how many variable terms do I have here? One. A variable term just means the one with a letter in it, right? So if I only have one, is it going to move? No. Then, what's the next step? All the constants on the other side. How many constants do I have here?
3.
3.
1.
50.
How many?
2. Oh, no, 2.
2.
Because that's concentration.
That's a constant? That's a constant. What is 50? That's not a constant. It's another C word, though. Coefficient. Not the same thing. A constant is a number. Only a number. Can't have it be a part of a variable term. This is one thing. It's a variable term. Right? It cannot be a constant if it's attached to a letter. Constants mean numbers by themselves. Right? Okay? So be really careful about that. All right. Now, if I have two constants, what does that tell you about one of them? One has to move, right? Okay. Now, my t's are on which side of the equation? The left, which means my constants need to go to the right. So which one do I need to move? Yeah, the 10 needs to go over there. And remember, you move things by doing the opposite. So what's the opposite of add 10? And if I subtract 10 from one side, what? I have to subtract it from the other side, right? So let's do that bit. Let me turn it back to green so you can see it. So minus 10 from that side and minus 10 from that side. Will the 50t change? Nope, that just comes straight down. The 10 subtract away. It really gives you plus 0, but do we need to write plus 0? No, that doesn't make any sense. Equals, what's 210 minus 10? 200. Is my t completely by itself yet? Nope. How is that 50 attached to my t? What operation? And the opposite of, now listen closely and answer my question. What is the opposite of multiply by 50? Oh, I'm so proud I could just quit. I can just quit work and retire right now because y'all are perfect. Okay, divide by 50. It's not just divide. That doesn't tell you anything, right? Divide. Okay, I'll divide by a shoe. That doesn't do it. I have to divide by a specific number. So you need your brain to work in specifics. And so what if I divide that side by 50, what? I divide the other side by 50. Over here, these will divide away. What they really make is a 1. But do I need the 1 in front of the t? No. So we can just think of it as dividing away. But what word do I never want to hear? Cancel. All right. And what's 200 divided by 50, guys? So how many tickets were sold? 4. So that means how many people went? 4. So the answer is 4 people. Because you are so smart. And if you don't put people or friends, you can put friends, but it has to have units, right? These are not just 4.
What if they said you put like 4 tickets?
If you put 4 tickets, I would give you some leeway, right? No, you need to give a unit, the real one that makes sense. I mean, that's descriptive. I mean, because P makes sense. But if I told you 4P, most of you would think, oh, money. Well, probably not anymore.
Could you assign us optional education?
No. It's optional.
Okay. All right. Let's focus on what we're doing first, though. Yes.
Can you show us one with brackets and 2?
If we have, probably not going to happen. So, but yeah. But I will happy to show you later. Yeah. Okay. All right. So here it is. Each ticket, cost per ticket, $10 to $10. There's all the pieces that we labeled, right? And we said the number of tickets was T. So there you go, putting it all together. Gives you the same equation we did. They wrote it on the different side. Does it matter? No. But it makes sense to put anyway, but that's all right. Okay?
What?
Right? Yeah. It's you guys going to assembly. All right. No, it can't be. They're quiet. Here we go. We're going to do some practice. This is a really good exercise. Picking out the pieces. Okay? Cody I don't know how to say that. Is mowing lawns in his neighborhood for pocket money. He charges $10 for each of the neighbors' lawns he mows. So every lawn he mows he gets what?
$10.
All right. Well, let's fill it out as we go then. So that's $10 per lawn. Okay? He also has to mow his own lawn, and his parents pay him $5 for that. So own lawn is $5. One day he earned $25. So that's the total amount he did, right? So how many lawns did he mow is what we're asking. Okay?
Wait, 3.
All right. So how many, well, it must be neighbors. How many neighbors' lawns did he mow is probably what they're asking. So let's make an equation. It's not right if it's an equation. It's $10 for every one of his neighbors' lawns, right? How many did he mow? We don't know. So what do you want to call it? N? Different neighbor? X, Y, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yes.
When we're writing out the equation and it has it's like that.
You don't have to put the dollars in there for this. Yeah, just put the numbers in. Only the answer needs the, yeah. Because when we finish, this is not going to be dollars anyway. It's going to be number of lawns. All right. Now, plus the $5 he gets for mowing his own lawn. His parents are cheapskates. And he has to do that one because that's just his chores, right? Equals how much did he make total? Yeah, no way. I'm not doing this job. All right. And now you have your equation. And again, you don't need the dollars in there while you're solving it. But when you're finished, you need to answer with units. Yes. Pardon? Neighbors' yards. Neighbors' lawns. Okay?
Can we do it with the dollars?
Yeah, sure, you can if you want. Sure, no problem. Just don't let it get you cluttered. But okay? Now, guys, and now we just have a simple equation. So do you see how much making the list makes a huge difference in making this easy? So we know it's an equation because of the equal symbol. Good. And first step for solving any equation is look for brackets. Do I have any?
No.
What do I look for next? Fractions. Do I have any? No. I'm going to turn you into little equation solving machines. I'm so pleased. All right. What do I look for after fractions? Variable terms on one side. How many variable terms do I have? 1. So is it moving? No. So that one's staying where it is, right? How many? Then I want my constants on the other side. So my variable's on the left, so my numbers need to move to the right. So how many constants do I have? So one of them has to move which one? Positive 5. And so what's the opposite of add 5? From where? Both. Remember that word, both sides is the key to everything. All right? The 5s will subtract away, gives me 10n equals, what's 25 minus 5?
20.
Then what?
Oh, you divide it.
Yeah, it's 10 times n. The opposite of multiply by 10 is divide. There you go. That'll divide away. Gives you n equals 2 what? Lawns or neighbors' lawns, whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Obvious is good. That means you see it. That makes it easier for you because you know what it's supposed to be, right? Okay? But if I don't see this equation and I don't see the steps for solving it, I am not giving you any credit. I don't care what any other teacher says or does. I am telling you that if you don't write the equation and solve the equation and show me the process, you don't get any credit. Now, if you write the equation, guys, write the equation and then somehow miraculously come up with the right answer, I'll give you the math part of that. But also remember there's a communication part of it. There's your other grade. So you could get an 8 and a 0. That's not a good thing. Hold on just 1 minute. Maddie had a question. Yes. Okay. So Berenice and her friends go strawberry picking. Each of them picks 4 baskets of strawberries. So that's a given, right? There's no unknown there, is there? So we know that each person picked 4 baskets, right? So 4 baskets each. However you want to write it, who cares? The group picks a total of 24 baskets. So the total is 24 baskets. Okay? Yummy. How many friends did she go with? Be careful. Okay. All right. So everybody picked 4 baskets each. Okay. So if we equate every basket with the number of people, right? Because the people and baskets are going to be the same, yeah? So the number of people who went, we'll call X, or whatever, P, whatever letter, I don't care. How many baskets each? How many baskets each? 4 times the number of people, which is X, equals how many baskets did they pick? Now, how can I solve that? My X is already by itself, except for that 4, which is attached to it with what operation? And the opposite of multiply by 4 is divide by 4. Where? Which gives us X equals what? 6. So six people went, but we want to know how many friends did she go with? So one of these people is what? Berenice. So how many friends did she go with? 5 friends plus her picked 24 things of strawberries. Tricky. Now look, you would get most of the credit if you didn't see that. You would get most of the credit for that, right? Yeah? You'll still get credit for what you did. Shh, ladies, come on. Ghosts excluded, even though it is close to Halloween. Okay? All right. Total number of baskets, feast, number of people, Berenice and her friends. They even called it X. So. Yeah, this one, they did it way harder than we. Yeah. You can just subtract her out in the end to get the 5 plus 1. 5. Okay. Here we go. Come on. Focus. I don't know these names. How do you say that? Anybody know this name? Vela? Okay. I don't know. Sarah and Joe, sorry, are playing football together. During the first half, Valia, scores 2 goals and Joe scores none. Okay? During the second half, Valia scores twice as many goals as Joe. Okay? So, we have 2 people scoring here, right? Okay? Do you agree? All right. And then our variable, our thing that's going to change, is the number of goals. Yeah.
Wait, you can't have.
Hold on. During the first half, she scored 2 goals, and Joe didn't score any.
You don't put a variable.
Right? During the second half, she scored twice as many goals as Joe. Yes.
What are we working out?
We're trying to figure out. Well, I'll get there. We're just breaking down the question right now. There's no question, guys. Come on, shh. Focus on what I'm saying instead of your 50,000 questions. I'm going to get there. I don't ever leave you pieces, right? Come on, just don't worry about things. Don't worry about the future. Focus on what I'm doing. All I'm doing is identifying the pieces of information that I know so far. Yeah? Understanding the question is a huge part of it. So understand the question. Now, they haven't asked me anything here, have they? So I don't even know what we're doing. But if we scroll down, we'll see. If she scores 4 goals, this situation can be described with the following equation. Okay? How many total goals did she score? 4. So they gave us the equation too soon. I didn't want it. So that's the total goals, right? In the first half, she scored how many goals? So that's where that 2 is coming from. In the second half, we don't know how many goals she scored, but it's double. And that's one of the things I should have put on your list. Anytime you see double or twice, that always means multiply by what number? There you go. Good. Okay? What if it said 3 times? Multiply by 3. And occasionally you might even see the word thrice, but it's a really ugly word that means multiply by 3.
Thrice is not an ugly word.
Oh, well. Okay. All right, Shakespeare, go ahead. All right, go ahead. That's good. Perfect. I don't have fun. All right. So do you see what happened here? We had the 2 goals from the first half, right? That's your total. And 2 times the number of goals. We don't know how many goals she scored in the second half, do we? The other girl. But we know that this girl scored 2 times that much, or double that amount. So it's 2 times. I guarantee you will see double the amount. Okay? So just know that means multiply by what number? 2. And then, simple job of solving this. Let me move it up a little bit so we have some room to solve. No, it doesn't have enough room. Let's just see. So here we go. 4 equals 2j plus 2. How would I solve it? Any brackets? Fractions? How many variable terms? So is it moving? No. How many? So that's 2j. That's going to stay right where it is. How many number terms? Or constants, I'm sorry. 2. So which one needs to move? The 2 has to move away from the j. So we'll do that by the opposite of add 2 is subtract 2, which gives us 2 equal 2j, because that just subtracts away. Connected to the 2 with what operation? What? All I did was subtract the 2 from both sides. So 4 minus 2 gave me this 2. These 2 subtract away, and so I just brought that down. Yeah? So now what do we do? We need to divide by the coefficient. What is the coefficient? So we'll divide both sides by 2. What's 2 divided by 2 going to give me on this side? And what's going to happen on this side to the 2's? They divide away and turn it to a 1, but 1j is just plain j. Okay? So j equals 1. Yes. And remember, j is the number of things the other girl scored. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that mean j is kind of pointless?
No, just means it's 1. If I give you $1 million, is that pointless because it's only a 1?
No.
1 isn't a legitimate number. So is 0 if you get 0. Okay? All right. Okay?